Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michelle Holden, the artist behind All My Art and Soul, and today is going to be the last page of 2023. Wow, can you believe it? So, as you can see, and I think I've showed you in the last couple of videos, this book is almost finished. So I'm going to be doing a daily, make sure I do it daily now that I'm off on holidays from my busy teaching schedule. I am going to enjoy doing it absolutely every day. But I think what I will do is set a timer. So what do you think? I believe if I do set a timer, it's going to force me, this is just how I work, to respond rather than overthink. And I'm thinking either 20, 25, or 30 minutes. Now, 30 minutes seems a little too long, so I'm going to shorten it. And if I do go over a bit, or if you want to try it, that's okay. So I know last year I had an art challenge. I know in 2024 I'm going to be having an art challenge. I just don't know when that's going to be. That'll have to correspond with my new free sign-up series sequences of lessons coming up in 2024, hopefully in January. So please stay tuned and hop on my newsletter to be informed about any new freebies and courses, because 2024 is a really substantial course that I want to have out by the spring. So stay tuned. Welcome to those who are new here. Some of you have mentioned that you have not received a newsletter yet. As of now, I am sending a newsletter out twice per month. And this one's a little late just because of the crazy pre-Christmas events and time schedules and all of that. But it will be out either by this evening or tomorrow, I promise. So, the last art journaling page, at least not for this book, but for 2023. So, it was so funny. Just before I started, I had to start the video over again because one of my lights on this side just sort of, I nudged it, popped, it fell on the table. It's just one of those days. So I had to restart with a nice positive intention. And this little beginning is left over from last week's page, so I'll just turn back to give you this one. This one turned out really cool, but if you didn't notice, I've since added just a very thin layer, and I think I'll even go with a more orange opaque piece of collage because this black seems to just chop it off, or the contrast is too high, so I want to just build that across so that I can go around. And I think that's beginning to work, but it could use a little improvement. So anyway, that's where these colors came from, this palette. Now, I didn't have any orange left over, but I'm really into orange and yellow and neutrals, so we're going to start with this and some black. And I thought, well, why do I always put my page this way? Vertical. So I'm going to, the portrait way. So I'm going to put it the landscape way, at least start it here, because my book does end up in this position, and who knows what we'll get. And that's something that you might want to keep in mind when I work with my other substrates. You spin them, so then it forces you to ignore what you might, or see differently what you might be becoming attached to. And that's okay, as long as you can, let go of these things by covering them up throughout the whole process. and this doing it this way and spinning it. Some artists only go this way and then they go all around, so then it's flipped. But I sort of like, you can do quarter turns. So that's what my intention is today. To be fresh, to start from a new perspective, which is very in line with the new year coming. I had some leftover foam from some packing. It just was staring at me. So I thought, you know what? What could I do? I wanted to start that last week. And what kind of shape? Because I really don't like planned shapes. I don't like that real planned look. So I'm going to start early with some high contrast. Some of these shapes, maybe the stencil, we'll see. I'll start with the shapes first, but also this, I forgot the name of it again, one of my subscribers. And thank you out there, and anyone who helps me with the, with the terms. I like to use proper terminology. I don't know if that's really important, but it is, I think. So this is sort of a dry brush, and I'm feeling the energy of the horizontal, but just with a wave. And down here. And I like to go off. Okay, so we'll leave that and we'll dry that. I'm also curious as to see what kind of texture this foam will leave on the paper. And of course, I love using very thin or transparent layers. It's all about the layers. That's what my process is about. And I like to, oh, this is cool. Okay, let's just do this. Very interesting. Okay, I don't know if I want to do that again, but we might. And then here's the other piece from that shape that I cut. And I know I was thinking about this, so let me know what you think. When I'm narrating these videos, today I almost thought, to be truthful with you, I just don't feel like talking. I just don't. But I need to, I guess. And I could have done the voiceover later, but I stopped doing that just to save so much editing work. And when you're getting into this, when you're doing it alone in your studio, is my point. The quiet is very important. And sometimes when I'm narrating, I guess I could say I'm just voicing what my intuitive direction is, but sometimes the talking really interferes. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's enough of this bubbly texture. So I am going to cover it up. Something tells me, no, that's enough of that. Now I'm starting off with a really, sorry to be jumping around here conversationally. So not talking in your studio and working in a regular practice, daily, every other day, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, up to an hour is plenty. It doesn't take, and you don't need that much sitting time to keep this going. And what I'm referring to as keeping going is the practice of listening, focusing in on your on your inner voice, and then also building all of these kinds of experiences in order to move forward with your intuitive art practice. So, and I know that word's been thrown around a lot, but to me, it's just practicing in quiet and just listening and being present. So now I'm just going to look at this. I'm not thinking, at least I don't want to so much. It's like, what am I next? What would my next move? What am I feeling? And I'm feeling a little color. So when I use color, I like to, no, not color. I'm going to cover up. See, I'm trying to remember my favorite or my sequences of layering. And that's important too. So now that I have, so just let me back up. So I started with color and high contrast, some brush and different types of marks. So now I'm going to dry them, and now I'm going to push them back with a very thin veil of my transparent white before I get in with color. And you can see when you're using these thin layers, they don't take any time to dry. So I'm liking that, but I want it to go back. Liking that. So that just allows it to spread even more thinly, but before it's dry. And that's just a thing that you just learn your timing with as you're building up your experience of mark making, line and pattern making. And as you just cover up one little section at a time, it was telling me like, wow, this looks good, all pushback. Because I want to come up again with some more black and a different pattern. And it'll look really cool. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. So welcome new. And some of you, so before I say what I was going to say, so right now, after I do a sort of a significant layer of pushing back, then I'll turn it or rotate it. And I think I like it there, but this is sort of cool too. Yeah, so I think I'll work on it from this perspective, and then you can go back this way, or I'll turn it back that way, and we'll see. So there goes my lights again. Anyway, so I was going to say something there earlier. Now I forget. One of these days. That's okay. So, yes, so after you turn it and you've pushed back, lessen the contrast. So now I want to bring in a pattern on top. And I don't even know if these are these new cheap. Oh, so this works better. Okay. As you can see, I don't use the, ooh, that's really cool. That's neat. I think I'm going to bring it down. I think I'm going to go on a slight angle towards the lower left. Yeah, I like that. very dry. It's a very dry brush approach. Now, my new little tool. Because now I don't have any thin lines. I have that big thick line there. And I haven't even opened it since. So, let's see. Ouch, that's pretty sharp. This is half black and half pouring medium. So that's why you see the pouring medium venture out first. And let's see, here we go. Oops, so I'm going to hang on to that little lid. Interesting. Now these are very thin. So I've been experimenting with, do I want to go over them with the brayer or not? Just take my damp rag and put this very rubbery lid back on it, and it works. It's super. Now, let's see what happens. A little messy because I had previous, but if I was to just do one stroke, wipe it, one stroke, and wipe it, that's really cool too. So now we're going to turn it this way. Wow. So now it's in the position that I would have, if I started, but wouldn't never have planned things that way. So now this is horizontal. I've got some really cool things happening. I think I'm just going to bring in some, I've been loving this orange. It's the yellow Hansa, or Hansa, no, it isn't. It is cadmium yellow deep hue and cadmium orange hue, Liquitex Basics. Great brand for art journaling. And then when you mix the two, you get quite a beautiful, I don't know what it is with the orange. When you pre-spray your page, it enables the color shaper to glide across. And you just get a little bit more transparent. Now this would also be a great layer, which I didn't do. Don't know why I didn't do it. To put on top of a heavy gesso layer that would have been started in the very early stages. So then you could put all the black on top and get this physical texture. But I think there's a lot of texture happening anyway. So I don't want it to be so uniform. I think I want a little more yellow here. So and then you can lift it. See, the brayer is such a good lifter. And I don't have my pages beside me that I like to coat with a bunch of paints that I'm using, just because it's just a little crowded. So I'm going to be doing a cleanup of my studio, which is in my email. I'm talking about that in my newest email this week, sort of reflecting, renewing, cleaning for the new year. And I usually do that every year. And my big table, like it's the drafting IKEA table with the window, it's just too crowded. So I need to just totally clean it off and make another little mini shelf above so I can just select what I'm using for that page at that time. Oh, it's going to save so much. And also for you too, viewers, because then you can see what I'm doing without, I know you don't see it here in this perspective, but man, it's crowded. Okay. I love this paper, and I will be, now that I have time finally, be doing a video series on how I create in more detail a couple of my papers, though that is going to be in the course that I'm planning coming up, where you're creating all of your your resources, collage papers, I should say, that, that are very full of meaning from your perspective. And I love the negative space that the hole punches leave behind. So I'm going to use this. So it's opaque, but allowing interesting. But no, it needs to be here. Down here is something I wouldn't normally do. So I'm liking that better. Yes. Okay. Now making sure that's dry. I'm using a heavy gloss medium. While I'm looking for my brush, oh man, tell you, it's one of these days. Okay then, I'll just use a different brush. It's enough of this. And it does start to thicken up when you get about past halfway. I hate to cover up some of those lines, but you know what? Gotta let go. This collage paper has about 3 or 4 different layers on them. And they're very organic, and that's what I love. They have that aging, you can just see different things happening, and I like that effect. So I'm going to work on developing that process for my collage, at least for part of my collage. And I'm preferring not to use anything purchased, except for some of the stencils, of course. Okay, so interesting. So now, Yes. This is just brayered deli wrap, and I love how transparent it is. So I'm just going to tear this piece. That's interesting. Okay. And you'll see why it's really good. And I might even do some more high contrast under there. And I like this new little tool because it's sort of like, I forget the proper name for the writing. It's like pretend writing. But I really like to do real writing. But I'll use both. Oh, have to wipe it or it'll clog for sure. Come on, Michelle. Okay. I think I really like that. I don't know if I want to brayer it just a little bit. Okay. So we have to dry this. It'll take a couple of minutes because it's thicker. Okay, so it's just a little tacky, but I wanted to show you something really cool. Now, if I can bend the paper, and since it's a gloss pouring medium, does it ever have a wonderful effect? And this is dry. I don't want to smudge it. It's just slightly tacky. It leaves a very raised line of texture. So, wow, I really love that. And I know probably a lot of you may already use this thing, and they're in different gauges. So I don't know if this is a bigger one, hole, or a tinier hole, but wow, I love that. It's going to look really cool, partially hidden under that piece of collage. So I'm not going to go all the way. Yeah, like that. Perfect. So I just glide my nail where that tape is. It makes a line. And I can just cut it. So I'm going to just flip it back. I was teaching my students some little book making techniques. I called it the backflip fold. So that reminded me of it. Folding, paper making. It's so great for kids. A lot of spatial sense needed. And anything we can do creatively to get them off those screens is, I think, a good thing. And us too. So this is really cool. I love it. Oh, see, it wasn't quite dry, but that's okay. We're just going to do this quickly. Yeah. So this, oh yeah, right there where it's super thick. Just need more patience. Drying time. That's really neat. Very transparent. Okay, so now you can see this rising sort of energy, and I love that. I'm going to make this solid black down here, just because it'll give it weight. And I like to use, oh, forgot to do that brush last week. Not good. Okay, I usually have all my supplies ready to go, so I apologize. There's a lot of searching going on. So I'm going to go right over the tape, so it'll be a lovely clean line. And you see how that nice, bold, but at the bottom, strong black, that's the thing that wasn't there, is really, is a really good difference to put in now. So I feel a calling. Ooh. And I know I love my squares. We'll see if we'll use them. I know I've done that before. Nope, no more pattern. This might be, see how now there's enough pattern there already. So we need some solid. So maybe that's time for the pastels. Maybe. or a piece of nice solid. See, that isn't solid enough. All right. So, nope. Maybe. This isn't solid. It's a water-soluble, which is sort of weird, right? Water-soluble oil pesto. I need a contrasting, there we go. We need a little bit of punch. That was two the same. Okay, so let's see what happens. There it is. So this is just a dampened brush. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Really like that. Let's try that up. So it ended up just becoming a horizontal. 1, 2. See, these are too close in size. So what I usually do is I make one and, or at least try to do, see how it turns out. You can still see what's underneath. So I'm going to get my narrower color shaper. Here's the narrower one. I'm going to dampen it. And I'm still going to allow some of that to come through. But I don't want the edge to be so hard-edged. Just sort of there. Okay. Now this top part, I like the black and white. Let's see. I think. And well, that isn't dry yet. I love my pencil, and I usually put this pencil in early, but I'm loving this bumpy texture of this. So I think I'm gonna go further, and I know there's no just straight lines or horizontal lines. They're not straight, of course. Now I'm going to want them thickened up a bit. So I'm going to use this little guy. Okay. It may have made it a little busy, but that's okay. Now to dry them. Okay. So, this is painter's palette paper, just with some orange on it. Yeah, you see. I'm wondering, see how it go away? Nope, I like those lines. This didn't really do much. I'm liking that in relationship to the very large top. And I'm just going to use a very thin black and white. And I think that's going to be it for today. Interesting how it's such a warm page. Maybe I need a little warmth today. Who knows? And it is fairly translucent. As you could see, I was trying this one. That's sort of nice too. This is more intense. I like it because it's relating to that color more. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So now I remember what I was going to say the last time. I think a lot, as I said, how I got into this was I used to be a landscape watercolor painter. That was my thing. And I just couldn't do it anymore. It just wasn't it just wasn't fulfilling anymore. And I have always been attracted to abstract art. I thought, that's what I want to do. And I don't want to paint representationally anymore. I want to go inside and to discover my inner voice, my marks that speak to me, paintings or artwork that I can explore. And that's why I use the words explore, play, and discover, because that's really what we're doing. So let me know if you have been here for a while, this is what you're looking for. And I've just slowly learned that when we just look at it as a layer, just another layer, another surface, it eliminates all the attachment, overthinking, outcomes, and all of that. And you're focusing on your inner journey is basically what I'm saying. So I would love to hear what you think and what your art journey has been like. And if what I do resonates with you, that is wonderful. And what is resonating with you the most, and what would you like to learn the most? A basic start, something that you can just start a good, fulfilling, intuitive art journaling practice. So that would be awesome to know. So this is my gloss. I'm loving that. Okay, no, we're not going to use that anymore. Not going to use that anymore. I need a white layer going over the top. I'm having a feeling. I don't know if I want to. Yes. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm only going to use white and a sponge. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, if I can get my paint to pour. So sometimes I'll use the heavier paint here, white, titanium white, and this is the fluid. So let's see how that'll work. I don't know, but I'm going to use a very dry sponge or brush. I think I might try one of these. Now, I don't know how much will show, but I only wanted a very thin layer. And I don't want it covering everything. Let's see. Ooh, that is working. just want to emphasize or make this a little more opaque here. Yeah, so you can see it. There. Cool. Okay. Something across there. I don't know if I want to... Nope, I don't even want to do that. So I'm just going to grab some white. Sort of mirror what's happening above, in a way. I wanted to keep the value really the same. I don't think we need any more of that. Something up there. So now it's coming down, and you see how these shapes just happened just because I came in and changed the value, kept it really light though. So that's really interesting. Okay, let's see. Warming that up down there. I think there's enough lines. I know my Lego piece is really cool. I'm going to use it now. I don't know how it's going to look, but we're going to give it a try. Oh yeah, that's it. So it's very subtle, another subtle interest, because it's a very similar value, keeping the contrast low. Oh yeah, a little punch. I love it. Okay. Ha! Pretty cool. Something down here. Yeah. I think I want words. A word. And you could put a piece of text. I just don't have any. You know, something around that. And if I do find it, I might put it in and across. I love doing that centrally in the lower end of my pages. Oh yeah. I love that. Okay. So now for a little sprinkle. And we are done. Black will look the best. And I know I'm off camera here. There we go. So this is just the liquid. Liquitex Basics Fluid. And I do use gold and everything, but I don't need to use it on my pages. But if it's a specific color, it doesn't stop me. Okay. I don't want to overdo this, but I just need a little something in these. There. Okay, let's dry that. I forgot about my gold pen. And I want to say, I create in peace and joy. gold with all this is just beautiful. And now I think I'm going to do this. Emphasizes the circles. Don't want to do too much, but I just love it. Nice. Okay, one more for the tape, and then we'll reveal it. So, title of my piece is I Create in Peace and Joy. And you can also do this for yourself. Have your words of your positive affirmation, your positive message. And just to remind you, I have a series and a playlist of positive affirmations on this channel. So if you haven't checked that out, and I know I haven't been talking about it, but it is another way to help you discover your intuition, your inner voice. So good. Tape's coming off nicely. And then when you do have a book, or maybe your favorite pages, you can take them out, frame it, and you can look at it, put it up somewhere, and remember, no one even has to see these. These are for you alone. But if, here we go, into the yellow paint. If you are satisfied and love one of your pieces, there's nothing wrong with putting it in a frame. This is an 8x10 and a 9x12, 140-pound Canson watercolor sketch pad. And the thickness of the paper is perfect for this kind of thing. So, I hope you enjoyed this week's page. I really didn't think I was going to get through today creating, but I did, because I just said, you know what? Let's just see what happens. And I know since I do have a channel, you know, there's a lot more planning involved. But for my page, I just show up, look at what's there before. It might trigger something, and I allow it and I follow it. And that is the best thing to do, because you just never know what's going to happen. It builds trust, acceptance, and courage, all of those wonderful things. So happy creating, everyone. And don't forget to like and subscribe, as I am continuing to build this channel in 2024. And happy creating, and I will see you in the next video. And to the subscriber that said or suggested that, why don't you at the end move all your stuff away from your journaling page so we can take a really good look at what you have done. And I've done my best. Here it is. And lots of amazing layers. Wow. I really, and love the gold with yellows. It's so warming. Let me know what you think, and see you next time.